Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a solo outing. I'm not sure how many I'm going to be able to do once the kitchen renovation for my parents starts this coming Monday. I'm going to try to do them as much as possible each Friday afternoon, but I figure I'm going to take this opportunity with the construction not starting until early next week to do one today and have a few topics to go over. Two of the articles are on TheGamer. They are pretty much the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to basically pop culture cringe and just overall general retardation. And then I have an article on bounding into comics. Now, what I'll likely do is I'll save the gamer ones for last because you know that they're going to be cringe. I have not really perused them just yet because I was out running errands, but the titles pretty much speak for themselves right now. For those who are unaware of what's been going on, particularly with Activision and NickMercs, all NickMercs tweeted in response to the situation that happened in Glendale where the parents and Antifa basically got into a scuffle because the parents, basically Armenian and like Middle Eastern parents, were upset at the inclusion of certain topics in the school, during Pride Month, queer, homosexuality related topics and so forth, which really did not belong at all in the school. So parents got upset and got into a scuffle with Antifa. And so NickMercs tweeted response to a tweet with the clip and saying, just leave the kids alone. That's it. Just leave the kids alone. That's all he fucking said. No, I'm not exactly a fan of NickMercs, but that's all he said. So Activision decided to drop the NickMercs bundle from the Call of Duty store in response to that. It's basically fuck up number, I don't know, 6,000 something from Activision, pretty much. But in this instance, in this TheGamer article, they're not talking about the Activision side of it. You have an article from Ben Sledge, who's quickly rising the ranks of basically the Special Olympics for gold against Jade King and Stacey Henley. And it says, NickMercs is an embarrassment to the Apex Legends community. So I'm going to go through that article because I'm going to be kind of watching to see what Respawn does, because NickMercs is pretty much a big Apex player. That's what he's primarily known for. So, but apparently now, because of that tweet just saying, leave the kids alone, just let them alone, now he's an embarrassment to the Apex Legends community. And the subheadline is, NickMercs' latest comments, which I just went over, are the antithesis of Apex Legends' inclusive message. All right? So that's one gamer article that we will be going into. And the other one is by our own Stacey Henley. Because again, she and Jade King are just neck and neck in that going for gold in the Special Olympics. And her article is Diablo 4's Megan Fox advert is sexist and dated, but it didn't need to be. And the subheadline is, despite the outrage, there's nothing wrong with good-looking women promoting video games. The problem is how. The problem is how, according to Stacey Henley. And then, which I'm going to cover first after I say hello to everyone in the chat. This is a Bounding into Comics article. Apparently, now this is true, it's not really going to bode well, I think, for the third Spider-Verse movie. But if it is true, Across the Spider-Verse director's reveal sequel story is, quote, a commentary on the fans who don't see Miles as Spider-Man. Now, this could be the directors talking out of their asses and so forth. But that's apparently what they're quoted as saying, that the sequel story is a commentary on the fans who don't see Miles as Spider-Man. And yes, Megan Fox is still around. So if they're saying this about the sequel, then God knows what they're going to do for the third movie. But like I said, they could be speaking out of their ass, pretty much. But I didn't even realize that there was a Diablo 4 advert with Megan Fox, apparently. But Gamer sure herself found it out, and now they're now they got their panties in a twist over it. But it is what it is. So first off, from the top, I see Gaming or What. This is Ola. Good to see you, Gaming. Trey, you're ready for the cringe? Well, there it is. And yes, here is where I will be after the stream, probably about 1:30-ish. So once I'm done here, I'm going to try taking my dog out and then jump onto Kick afterwards. I'm debating between either despite what I saw last night with the lag and everything, the Starship Troopers game, just to test it out, or the Space Marine Anniversary Edition, because we have Space Marines 2 coming out later on this year. So might like one of those two games I'm going to try my hand at. Yeah, well, pretty much fuck Activision. Mr. Bentham, hello. Sultan Al Fahim, hello, good to see you. Tara Crystal, what is up? Gravy D, hello, good to see you. Joe Luke, nice. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. This is my Rumble. This will be mirrored. No, this won't. I think this will be mirrored over there. I can't remember if I mirrored my live channel yet or not. But I don't think this will be claimed. But give me a follow over on Rumble just in case YouTube goes the way of Twitch. If he was talking about school bullies, he would be praised. Yes, pretty much. Embarrassment to take Apex community. Yep, pretty much. Yeah. So. Yeah, I saw that she was going to be in Expendables 4. I did see that, but I didn't realize that she did a Diablo 4 advert. But now it's got Stacy all upset about it because of how she's depicted. And I have no idea what the ad looks like, but it is what it is. But anyway, let's just go into the Bounty in the Comics article first on Across the Spiderverse. Like I said, if this is true, I wasn't exactly anticipating the third movie. I really didn't have any plans at all to seeing the second movie, but I saw it anyway because my best friend Steph, my nerdy home that I do talk nerdy to us with, she had seen it, and I was like, I'll see it so I can give like my opinion about it, so we can kind of give our thoughts on it. And I thought it was like about an 8 out of 10. But the third movie could either make or break the score for the first two Spider-Verse movies. But here's the article I just saw on Bounty in the Comics. I'm going to zoom in. Alright, so this one. Across the Spider-Verse, directors reveal sequel story is a, quote, a commentary on the fans who don't see Miles as Spider-Man. Because, well, for most fans, not every fan, but for most fans out there of Spider-Man, he is a Spider-Man. He is not the Spider-Man. The Spider-Man was, is, and always will be Peter Parker. That version of Spider-Man, pre-current day Marvel, is the face of Marvel. Like, you, even if you're not a fan of Marvel comics, like, inevitably, if someone asked, like, what do you think of when you think of Marvel? I would say, not like 9 times out of 10, someone would say Spider-Man. That's how popular that character has been since his debut, and can't divest one from the other at this point. But Miles Morales is a Spider-Man. All right. Is a Spider-Man because they have opened up the multiverse, and while I'm not necessarily saying that to defend Miles Morales as a character, he is what he is, basically. I have no really opinion of him one way or another. I'm like, right now, I'm more not liking the fact that he's being shoved down our throats, as with the case with the current animated movies, as well as a rumor floating that there's going to be a live-action adaptation of the Miles Morales game. And it just seems to me that Marvel is pretty much pushing Miles to the forefront to push Peter Parker out, and I do not like that. But there it is, and I would wonder what the directors think of this, because Trey is black, and he's even saying, because Miles isn't Spider-Man. He's even saying that. They even, with little success, but well, like right now, I think like they're really, really heavily invested in Miles Morales. So I think they're still trying to push Peter Parker out. So yeah, they don't want him to be Peter. But anyway, so here it is. Apparently unable to accept that Miles Morales' inability to fully endear himself to longtime comic book fans is based on Marvel's mishandling of his character, rather than any inherent bigotry or inability to accept the concept of a Spider successor, the directional team behind Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse have revealed that the film's core story is, quote, a commentary on the very readers who decline to acknowledge the fledgling hero as a real Spider-Man, because he's not. Because he is not. Yeah, pretty much, by Odin's Fade. Remember that? Remember that bullshit by Odin's Fade? Yeah, much like Captain Marvel's leader of the Avengers. Yeah, like I said, like now I still have not seen Endgame, but I did see the big scene where every fucking female superhero's biological clock synced, and I was like, that is the setup for A-Force, right fucking there. And I have no doubt they're going to go down that road. The trio of Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson, he's making his directing debut, okay, provided this insight into Miles' latest cinematic adventure during a recent interview given to YouTuber Johnny Two Cellos on behalf of the Nerdist. God damn ad. It's Spider-Man. Oh, good. Look at the Nerdist up there. Look at that. Look at that. Look at all that beautiful rainbow colors. They're allies, ladies and gentlemen. They're allies. Anyway, here it is. So I'm not going to play the video, but that's the interview. That's the tweets. Asked by Johnny if any degree of that story that was meant to be a sort of commentary on the fans who don't see Miles as, the trio interrupted him before he could say Spider-Man with a resounding chorus of, yes, absolutely, yeah, 100%. I mean the idea of like canon and rule and who gets to be Spider-Man, explained Thompson and Powers. Question. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? I mean the idea of like canon and rule and who gets to be Spider-Man. Like, what the fuck is the who gets to be Spider-Man? Like, Peter Parker didn't get to be Spider-Man. He was bitten by a radioactive spider. He became Spider-Man. He had to take on that responsibility. And so he didn't get to be Spider-Man. No one gets to be a fucking superhero unless they actively go out of their way to become one. Most often, it's a result of some type of accident or some type of cosmic intervention where a normal person is thrust into a realm where they basically fish out of water, literally, and they have to navigate going from the life they used to know to what they've become, which was Peter Parker. So, like that, the whole who gets to be Spider-Man, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? No, like, again, no one gets to be Spider-Man. It's not like a fucking Oprah Winfrey episode. You get to be Spider-Man, and you get to be Spider-Man, and you get to be Spider-Man. No. That's not how it works. Fuck off. Anyway. Spider-Man, is definitely like a character that is owned by the audience. Did they basically, as a criteria for the directors for this movie, did they have window lickers in that block? Hey, Dead Punk Age, if a character is defined by his rogues gallery defining storyline, then what's really Miles Morales' defining moment that makes him Spider-Man? Yeah, you can pick at least a dozen for Peter Parker. Beginning with the death of his Uncle Ben. And right here, the audience says Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So you're saying the character that's owned by the audience, and the audience says Peter Parker. Thompson continued, but some of that audience takes it so seriously and is trying to enforce and restrict. They're accusing you of gatekeeping, ladies and gentlemen. They're accusing us of gatekeeping pretty much at this point. Because we're not accepting Miles Morales as Spider-Man. They're not accepting Miles Morales as Spider-Man. Because again, what are, that Punk Cage pointed out, what if has there been of any defining moments where it's like, okay, that is him becoming Spider-Man? Nothing that I've seen. Nothing that I've seen. Hell, spoiler alert. If you do not want to hear this, I will count down from 5. All right? And then I'll hold my hand back up and count down to 5 after I'm done saying this, okay? There's a spoiler that I'm going to talk about when I'm talking about this from Across the Spiderverse, since we're talking about that movie, all right, for this article, okay? All right, you have from the count of 5 to mute it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. According to Miguel, all right, aka Spider-Man 2099, okay, Miles wasn't even supposed to be bitten by the spider. That spider wasn't even supposed to be in that universe. But because the spider bit Miles, Peter Parker in that universe had to die, according to Miguel. So you literally, in that fucking movie, set it up. Now, again, if we're to believe Miguel, okay, Spider-Man 2099, if we're to believe him, Miles Morales wasn't even fucking supposed to be granted those powers from that bite. Nothing like that was supposed to happen, because that Peter Parker in that universe was still to remain Spider-Man. But because you can't have two in the same universe, Peter Parker had to die for Miles to take over. You literally set that up in the fucking movie, that he was never supposed to be Spider-Man. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can unmute. And canon events had to happen. Yes. Miles literally just fights Peter's villains. Yes. Right, a superhero doesn't just have powers or talents. What did he go through to make him decide to use his power for good? A lot goes into what makes a superhero. And they're glossing over, they're either glossing over that fact or completely ignoring it with these
new Sustain Complete preservative
fuck
free.
off. God damn it, Bounding. Anyway, moving on. Okay, I don't know what this is supposed to be. Okay. That's not how we think it should be, the director asserted. We wanted to talk directly to that, almost stick it to that mentality and really reinforce the message of no, anyone can wear the mask. No, not anyone can wear the mask. Not anyone can wear the mask. I hate that mentality. I fucking hate that mentality. Not anyone can wear the mask. It's like that stupidity in the new Mortal Kombat movie, the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie, where it's like, oh, if you kill the person with the mark, you get the mark yourself and you're entered into the Mortal Kombat tournament, which, by the way, never fucking happened in the movie. But I was like, well, okay, so if you accidentally hit the person with your car, you get the mark, but you have no fighting abilities whatsoever fucking ever. But anybody could be in the tournament, right? If they have the mark. That fucking stupidity, that's what that sounds like. Hush, Gravy. Hey, Abomination. But that's what that sounds like. No, not anyone can be a superhero. Not anyone, with the Mortal Kombat movie. Not anyone could enter, because they literally picked the elite fighters from each realm because they displayed some abilities. That's stupidity. That's what that reminds me of. Yes, you're welcome, Trey. So basically, if that person was out in a lightning storm and lightning hit a huge tree branch that fell, and that branch fell onto the person and killed him or her, is that tree branch now part of the tournament? Well, that tree branch killed the person, so who gets the mark? And if Spider-Man is a character that is owned by the entire world, Thompson concluded that the entire world should be represented in that character. I've pretty much gotten to despise the word representative. I've come to despise that word. They're not giving me any hope right now for the third one. I mean, I'm saying any hope. I really didn't plan. I had not planned on seeing the second one. I only really saw it so that way I could give my thoughts on it with my nerdy home during Talk Nerdy to Us. But now this is definitely not giving me any hope for the third movie. If this is their mentality, because if this is what the second movie is supposed to be a commentary on, God fucking forbid the continuation of that commentary in the third movie. Yeah, Groot should be in the Mortal Kombat universe, yeah. As noted above, while there are undoubtedly some fans who will never accept Miles for whatever reasons, and yes, admittedly and unfortunately, there are detractors whose rejection will be motivated by genuine bigotry, for most it is the fact that Marvel is unable to give him any identity outside of the secondary Spider-Man, which leaves him disinterested in his character. He's just not Spider-Man. It's pure and simple. Outside of the Spider-Verse films and an actually sensible exploration of his role as a successor to an aging Peters in Spider-Man life story, the company has no idea what to do with Miles' character. What the fuck is that supposed to be? Okay. Just look at how from nearly the moment of its inception, nearly everything about Miles has been a hand-me-down from Peter Parker. From his origins, to his villains, to his storylines, he even got his own clone saga. Everything associated with his character is just a retread of his namesake story, so much so that this fact makes up the entire plot of Across the Spider-Verse. Ultimately, this makes it hard for readers to care about him as an individual character. And Miles can't even escape the company's lack of creativity in other mediums, as not only has Across the Spider-Verse film set him up with one of Peter's old love interests, but his main antagonist is Insomniac Games' Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, was also nothing more than a race-swapped version of his predecessor's longtime foe, the Tinkerer. However, perhaps the strongest proof of that Marvel is at a loss for how to use Miles is the fact that in the comics he is continually being given more and more Deus Ex Machina level powers. Lightning swords, electric kamehamehas, webs in recent years. Whenever the young hero is up against any sort of challenge, Marvel just solves it by expanding his already broken bioelectric power sets. How's the entire world own Spider-Man? I don't know. Ask the directors of the movie. Well, they he's just been a retread of Peter Parker. That's it. He's done nothing to deserve anything. And while Marvel will never admit it, no one suspects that the reason Miles stories tend to follow the same pattern of new challenge, new power, rather than any real narrative, is because no one has been brave enough to actually treat him as anything more than a marketing prop. So there it is. Like I said, if the directors are speaking like the truth, like not just talking out of their asses, but this is true that the second movie is a commentary on fans who do not see Miles as Spider-Man, it's not going to bode well for the third movie. It's not going to bode well for the third movie. Lightning sword. Fucking hell. Yeah. How does he have powers? All I know is, again, it's a retread of Peter Parker stories, essentially, bitten by a radioactive spider. But he somehow got powers different from Peter. And it's just, yeah, basically pushing him to the forefront, pushing Peter out as Spider-Man. But not having any creativity whatsoever, other than to basically have Miles fight Peter Parker's villains. Oh yeah, I know you get the Miles stands if you just say he's not Spider-Man. I've seen them in action. I know, that's what I'm saying. If it's true, now I'm going to be, basically watching the news and so forth until the third movie. But like I said, it's just, if it is true, it does not at all give me any hope for the third movie, because that they're going to continue that commentary. They're going to continue that commentary, and I don't see that ending well at all. But there is a bounding in the comics article, so wait for the word of mouth. I most likely will as well. I technically waited for word of mouth with Minority Home, but I'll likely do that as well with the third movie to see what happens. But I'm gonna close this bounding site, and we're gonna go into the gamer articles. Go into the gamer articles. Miles is really unnecessary. At best, the story should be he knew Peter. Peter creates web slingers. Peter gives slingers to Miles and shows him how to fight crime and help out. That's the extent of it, really. Even with the powers that he has, he's just helping out because he's fighting Peter Parker's villains. Anyway, so it's but you can't. I guess you can't have the black character be secondary to the white guy, because God fucking forbid there's any positivity when it comes to a white superhero, a role model. No worries, Orange Hat. Thank you. Like Arachna Kid, yeah. At least Ben Reilly had a compelling storyline that gave him some credit to the possibility of him being Spider-Man, but even then he became his own character with the Scarlet Spider. Yeah. So, but anyway, so let's cover the NickMercs article first on TheGamer. All right, so again, before I share the screen, for those who are unaware of what's happening with NickMercs, his bundle, because it was just revealed not too long ago, Call of Duty bundle of his skin, his looks and skin and so forth. Must have NickMercs, yes. Was released in the Call of Duty store. And then now, recently, Call of Duty has dropped that bundle from the store. And why did they drop that bundle from the store? Well, because NickMercs had the audacity to respond to a tweet, all right, in regards to the, for those who are unaware, but basically a fight broke out between Antifa and some Armenian and other Middle Eastern parents in Glendale, who were upset at basically indoctrination going on in the schools, inclusion of basically incredibly wrong materials in regards to Pride Month, homosexuality, and so forth. So they were upset, and a fight broke out between the two groups outside the school because parents were rightfully upset. And NickMercs responded. Just leave the kids alone. Just leave the kids alone. Right? That's the real issue, pretty much. Just leave the kids alone. That's all he tweeted. Right? That's all he tweeted. Yeah, adult material being shown to kids. Yeah, and they didn't like that. They didn't like that. Just leave the kids alone. And then because of that tweet, Call of Duty responded to I think Charlie Intel's tweet about what was happening. So they have dropped the bundle. They dropped the NickMercs bundle from the store, right? So that's what's happening on the Activision side. To NickMercs' credit, no, I'm not a fan of NickMercs, but to his credit, he's not walking it back at all. He's like, I said what I said, pretty much. He doesn't give a shit. All right, he said what he said. He's done. But now TheGamer is stepping in. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Now TheGamer is stepping in because NickMercs, despite having basically his skin, operator skin as part of Call of Duty, he's more known for playing Apex Legends. That's his game. That's what he became essentially famous for, is playing Apex Legends. So now you have TheGamer stepping in saying that NickMercs is an embarrassment to the Apex Legends community. NickMercs' latest comments are the antithesis of Apex Legends' inclusive message. I'll show you right here. Yes. By Ben Sledge. NickMercs. Fuck off. NickMercs is an embarrassment to the Apex Legends community. That's what I'm going to be watching to see if Respawn does anything I'm not seeing anything so far from Respawn. But I want to see if something happens. Because, like I said, he's more known for playing Apex. Yeah, literally, yeah. By fighting people. Yeah. Yeah, because that's people of color. Those are people of color, the parents. Well, yeah, if you were Respawn, Trey, like, like, they wouldn't be in the shithole that they are. If we, like, each one of us had all owned, like, owned and controlled Respawn. But at some point, like, I'd say maybe, like, not as, like, a merc skin, but maybe, like, a gun skin, pretty much. Like a gun skin. The cosmetics for that. Not so much a playable character or anything like that, but maybe, like, the cosmetics for weapons or something like that. But anyway, another day, another hugely popular streamer showing their arse on Twitter. I'm gonna give Ben this, because he tried to sound so posh.
Golf clap? Golf clap.
God damn. The latest culprit is NickMercs Kolchev. Just say NickMercs, all right? We don't really care. Anyway, who has reiterated homophobic and transphobic dog whistles on the platform in response to a video showing anti-LGBT protesters fighting. No, they were not anti-LGBT protesters fighting. No, they were parents upset that there was grooming material being handed out to their young kids in school. Those were parents who were fighting back. That's it. They're trying to spin this to make the parents look bad. Video showing anti-LGBT like, he's literally lying through his fucking teeth with that statement, because it wasn't anti-LGBT protesters. They were protesting the fucking grooming shit that was being handed to their children, but they weren't anti-LGBT protesters. They were parents. They were parents who had enough and decided to voice their anger at this PTA meeting, all right, that was happening at the school. Antifa showed up because, inevitably those fuckheads like to cause trouble, and a fight broke out between the two groups. That's what fucking happened. Overwatch League host Chris Puckett had retweeted the video of clashing protesters who were outside a school board meeting, which was discussing whether or not to recognize Pride Month in the California school. Oh, you literally just said that it was anti-LGBT protesters fighting. Now down here, you're saying clashing protesters. They were parents. They were fucking parents. They weren't just protesters. They were parents. They were upset. Americans are in a sad place right now. Let people love who they love and live your own life, he wrote. Kolchev responded saying, LGBT people should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. Hold on. Let's find this tweet. I like this tweet. All right, so I'm going to go to my profile. I liked it so that way it would show up. All right, so I'm going to show what it is. Okay, let's remove that. Stop screen. Present. Twitter. Okay, here it is. This happened 4 blocks from my Overwatch League apartment. Americans are in a sad place right now. Let people love who they love and live your own life. All right? All NickMercs says, like, and that fuckhead on the gamer side put in brackets LGBT people, because he is basically putting words into NickMercs' mouth at that point. By doing that, he's inserting words where NickMercs never fucking said anything about that. He just said they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. The they did not at all reflect anything like LGBT or otherwise. No, he's saying basically those who are doing the shit, the groomers and so forth, all right, they should leave little children alone. Leave little children alone. Let them be kids. All right? Leave little children alone. That's what he said. They should leave little children alone. But what did the fuckhead say on the gamer side, he put in brackets something that NickMercs did not fucking say. I never thought I would be in any position to be defending at all or even saying anything really positive about NickMercs. Like I said, I was never really a fan of his. I didn't think about him one way or another, pretty much. But I was like, I was like, it is what it is, pretty much. He's a big streamer. All right, fine. But I never thought he'd be in position to actually defend him in any fucking way. But there it is. The gamer is lying. The gamer is lying. And NickMercs said some stupid shit. But like he says this rational thing, as he doesn't target anyone specifically. He says they should leave little kids alone. And they is plural, meaning this everyone. Fucking leave the little kids alone. Let them be kids. Right? Teach them just the basics, math, English, reading, and so forth. Social studies and so forth. Just teach them just basics of what they need to learn in school. None of this grooming shit that they're including because it's fucking Pride Month. That's it. He did not say anything in that as far as sexuality, but the gamer is lying. I'm gonna call the fucking gamer out at this point. Like, why are you lying? Why the fuck are you lying? Why are you like? Well, why are you lying? Why are you gay? Why are you gay? I'm gonna like just tweet that out. Why are you gay? Anyways, Martin Muses. Said yesterday in Lethal's chat, if they can teach kids that, then they can teach kids to smoke crack. Yeah. Teach kids how to snort a line of crack. All right? Just a snort a line. Like where to find the proper vein to shoot up with heroin. They can teach kids that, can't they? Oh, how about this? How about how to do a 5-finger discount in shops? Basically, how to shoplift. How about that? How about we teach kids that? How do you get away with shoplifting? If they can teach this shit, then they can teach the shoplifting, how the drug use, and so forth. Because like, if this is fine, then the other stuff is fine, right? Nothing to authoritarians. Yes. I'm not reading your entire comments, but I'm doing well, Stieg. Yeah, because you don't like when parents do it, so let the teachers teach kids how to properly handle a gun, just in any way, and I'll include even like the whole little fucking side one hold right there, like that, huh? We'll teach them that, huh? Yeah, how to wire a car. Kolchev refused to live his own life, weighing in on the topic with an archaic argument that right-wing anti-LGBT personalities have been rolling out for decades. I would hardly call NickMercs right-wing. And I showed you guys exactly what he said. It almost doesn't deserve a response, but if you really need explaining, I'll give it a go. No, we don't want any explanation from you, Ben, because you're literally talking out of your ass. The idea that gay people are pedophiles has roots back in the 60s and likely beyond, as LGBT people fought for their rights. It's baseless parroting of outright lies in order to discredit LGBT people and turn others against them. So, while this might have been true in regards to what happened in the 60s, it in no way at all is an argument for what's happening now, because there is literally grooming material being handed out to kids. Questions about, like sexual fantasies and positions and nothing that these little kids should even remotely, they don't even fucking know how their parts of the body work yet, and you're handing them out like things like that, not like something adults would even like just cringe at. So yeah, so no, it's not baseless, because you were saying nowadays, like happening now, grooming, literal grooming of kids. Teach them how to harvest ballots. Yeah. Preventing kids is from a right-wing talking point. Yeah. I live in California. I can tell you the grooming shit is real. Yes. Because that's what again, might have been baseless in the 60s because of the, what was happening back then, the civil rights movement and so forth. But it certainly isn't baseless now. It certainly isn't baseless now with like kids coming home with literal proof being handed out to them in schools. There is a long-standing homophobic and transphobic tactic of inaccurately comparing LGBTQ people to pedophiles and being LGBTQ to pedophilia. Rich Farrow, the chief communications officer of GLAAD, told USA Today in a report debunking the myth that P for pedophilia had been added to the LGBT acronym. It's debased and vile. The same report cites a study that showed the alleged offender in 80% of child sexual abuse cases was a heterosexual partner of a close relative of the child. Does not mean at all that the accusations of grooming are baseless now. All right. And to quote Benjamin Disraeli as well as Mark Twain, there are lies, damned lies, and statistics. All right. The study found that children are unlikely to be molested by a gay or lesbian person. Well, you're shooting this shit now, given like who's pushing this shit? Who's pushing this shit? SJWs and the T and Q parts of that community. Which is why the LGB part of the community has been divorcing itself from the radicals that have infiltrated that demographic. Alright, we're not going to go into the fucking history of this. Apex Legends is openly and proudly gay. I've written a whole article about it for TheGamer's Pride Month coverage, so watch this space if you like conversations about Fusehound and Valkyrie's flirtatious voice lines with Loba. No one gives a shit. It's the most LGBT-friendly first-person shooter out there, and one of its most famous esports stars is suggesting that LGBT predators are coming for your children. Something doesn't add up. He never said that. He said just leave children alone. Because down here it says, I guess apparently Puckett's eloquent response to Kolchev was, who is this they and what terrible act is everyone afraid of? I hope the goal of most of them is to reduce child suicides. What, sexual fantasies will reduce child suicides? What? Asking them to describe the use of a dildo, that's going to reduce child suicides? What? This has nothing whatsoever to fucking do with what that school in California was discussing, nor does it have anything to do with why parents are upset. These are young children that this journalist and what happened in the California school is talking about. Young children, not teenagers, young children primarily. It has these parents fucking upset. Young children that haven't even hit puberty yet. Do not need to know this shit. This is done through acceptance and removing the stigma of feeling being different. As a dad, I'm struggling to see the harm. I'm really fucking up, like, not know how I feel that Puckett actually procreated. Given that, like, how stupid he is. I doubt anything will come of this. Kolchev won't face repercussions, and his anti-LGBT audience will be emboldened by the whole ordeal. Well, anyone who supports NickMercs, you are anti-LGBT, according to this asshole. But how long is it before they spam slurs in the ALGS Twitch chat and Respawn really has to do something? In the meantime, how many LGBT pros will be put off from competing or coming out by the views of the game's biggest stars? Kolchev is alienating a large portion of the fans from his own audience and from competitive Apex Legends. No, he really hasn't. Not that I've seen. He really hasn't. But there it is. Teach kids how to drink vodka. How to properly consume shots. But there it is. Well, let's see if what happens to your head to all your heads pretty much in the chat, and I do apologize for the cringe. Well, let's see about the Diablo 4 article, shall we? Because that's also on The Gamer. And by that one's by Stacey Henley. Because according to Stacey Henley, okay, there's another one that I'm going to not go into, but there's one that I'm going to show you that I just 45 minutes ago popped up on the Gamer website. But let me find the one I'm going to talk about. And here it is, chat. I didn't even realize this was a thing, but apparently Megan Fox did an advert for Diablo 4 and says Diablo 4's Megan Fox advert is sexist and dated. But it didn't need to be. And subheadline to that is, despite the outrage, there's something wrong with good-looking women promoting video games. The problem is how. The problem is with how. Teach kids about donkey shows. Yes, they gotta learn sometime before they get to Mexico. So teach them about donkey shows. All right. I've not seen it. I didn't even realize there was an ad. But according to our Stacey Henley, it's sexist and dated. But here it is. Before Diablo 4, the previous Diablo game came out in 2012, and it seems like some of the marketing is stuck there. In one trailer doing the rounds on social media, Megan Fox stands before us in her underwear, telling us in a sultry, slightly disaffected tone that Diablo 4 has buckets of blood. She also encourages players to send in their best deaths for her to eulogize, where she'll decide if you went out like a champion or a chump. That's a pretty classic case of hiring a hot girl to promote a video game with an on-the-nose obliviousness we haven't seen since the days of the Boots Babes. But in the modern world, it makes for an interesting case study. Speaking of case studies, I'm donating your brain to science, Stacey. But moving on. Obviously, there's no need to intellectualize your horniness here. Megan Fox has been hired because she is a recognizable hot girl. Not just in that she's a woman. She's not a girl. Fucking hell, she's like pushing 40. All right. Not just in that she is clearly physically attractive, but for the late 20s to early 30s audience, she is the quintessential hot girl they had on posters in their bedrooms. It's not rocket science. It comes from the same school of thought as the nude raider urban legend, the stickers of near-naked ladies you used to get with gaming magazines, and the aforementioned booth babes. Megan Fox is there to be a hot girl for men to look at and desire. Okay, I don't see a problem with that. Well, it's like I'm saying, like, something that where science can study to see how she was able to function with a limited one. Given how much more inclusive gaming has become, I hate Stacey so fucking much. It's always been inclusive. It has always been inclusive. Like there has not been a day since the invention of basically or the dawn of the gaming industry has anyone been not prohibited from playing any type of game. It's always been inclusive. Not just as a generic buzzword, but as a tangible demographic. It's not just men playing video games anymore. It's never just been men. Fucking hell. It's been mostly men, but it's never just been men. There have been women in the gaming industry. I gotta take this call. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, my mom called. Anyway. Yes, kids, yes. Hey, Wop. Sorry, hey, Wop. Hello. But anyway. Okay. And when you target only men, you're ignoring a significant portion of your player base. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Pride Month, so wouldn't lesbians also like to look at a sexy woman? I mean, it's Pride Month after all. It's Pride Month. So you're saying basically ignoring, you're saying by targeting only men. What if they're also targeting lesbians and bisexual women? I know it is. It is, sir. Yeah. So I mean, never mind it being Pride Month. When lesbians want to look at this, what a hot, sexy woman. Hell, yeah, we compliment hot women too. But they always seem to want to focus on the fact that the targeted male audience, and they always seem to forget the ones they claim that they are allies of, and that's the LGBT community. Of course, some men will tell you things have already gone too far. You mean the cucks? That games are too woke, the betas. That there are no games for men anymore. Those are men who are pretty much henpecked. But looking at the most well-known developers in the world, almost all men, the major studio heads, almost all men, and the protagonists of the biggest games released, fewer men than the other two, but still predominantly men, we can see that's not really true. Amy Hennig is the one to thank for the Uncharted games, like the story and so forth. She's the one to thank for those games. She was one of the leads of Naughty Dog. And a man named Neil Cuckman drove her out. He's amongst the men you're describing right here when he's talking about the well-known developers and studio heads. A man drove out a woman. Oh, shut up. It's easy to say. Fucking hell. It's easy to say that. You know what? Let's let's see if I play this. We'll play through this.
If there's one thing I love, it's the sight of blood. And in Diablo 4, there are rivers of it. Show me your worst endgame death with hashtag Diablo deaths, and you might get a eulogy from yours truly, telling the world that you went out like a hero. Or a chump.
I see nothing wrong with that. That is actually tame in comparison. That was it. That was it. That's what this bitch is upset about. That was it. That's tame. That's fucking tame. She literally just stands there. Yes, the dress is strapped. But that's all she's wearing a dress, and she's standing there, and she's going, oh, she's talking about the rivers of blood, and it's like, oh, you might get a eulogy from me. It's what? That's it. Fucking hell, Stacy. God damn. I'm not gonna bother going further into this just because it's most likely, given every fucking gamer article that I've covered, they like to repeat the same stupidity and nuke their own argument in the same fucking paragraph. It's like, how did she describe it down here? Did she just... Yeah, average is sexist and dated. She's saying, imagine the advert plays out the exact same way, but instead of Megan Fox, it's Lilith, the game's antagonist. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Because why would the antagonist give the player a eulogy? That makes absolutely no fucking sense. It plays out the same way, but instead of it being Megan Fox, It's Lilith, the fucking villain, saying the same lines does not at all mesh, because it's like, why would the villain be giving the player a eulogy? Yeah, but Lilith isn't a famous celebrity. That's the whole point of hiring a celebrity. That's been the whole point of hiring celebrities since the dawn of advertising, pretty much. I'm saying, like, she's saying that everything would be fixed by using Lilith, but it would be heightened with her fearsome physical power and so forth. Like, nothing in that advert needed to be fixed. It was actually tame. But Lilith wouldn't care if the player died. She's the villain, and she's also sexy. It makes absolutely no sense. Yes, take old biddies, yes. Yes, because the one who kills you will eulogize you on the line, yes. But she's wearing thong and pasties, yeah. It makes no sense. But stop staring at the screen, because like I said, this article just like popped onto the gamer site. I'm not going to go into it, but I just want to show you. Again, they're coming for Spider-Man. They're kind of coming for Spider-Man. This is... Look at this headline. Look at this headline. Across the Spiderverse is a story about rejection in LGBTQ spaces. Miles Morales is labeled an anomaly and pushed out, a story that rings true for many LGBTQ plus people. He's labeled an anomaly because he was never supposed to be bitten, according to Miguel. That's why he's an anomaly. He was never supposed to become Spider-Man. That's why. It was about canon, not this shit. I don't think so, Jaluk. I guess I'm not going to go into this article, but just popped onto the Gamer not too long ago, but that's why he's an anomaly. He was never supposed to be Spider-Man, according to Miguel. That's it. And it's all about canon. They're coming for Spider-Man. It's Pride Month, and they're coming for Spider-Man. I'm not defending Miles Morales, but they're coming for Spider-Man. Yep. We're just about on the hour mark, ladies and gentlemen, because I try to keep this to an hour. So I'm going to try to take my dog out and everything. But thank you all. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I will be live on Kick in about 30 minutes or so. Once I get back in from taking my dog out. I don't know. I might try my hand at the Starship Troopers game. But I do also have the Space Marines game, the anniversary edition, given the fact that Space Marines 2 is coming out later on this year. So I might try the Starship Troopers game. And like I said, I do have the Warhammer 40K Space Marines game that I am going to be adding to the roster, since Spider-Man 2 won't be released until later in the year than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to drop in like late August time frame, thereabouts, but the date revealed was October 20th. So I'm 60% of the way through the Spider-Man game, so I have plenty of time to get that finished. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to hop into the Space Marines, in anticipation for Space Marines 2. So this is where I'll be in about 30 minutes. Come hang out then. So, awesome. 90 Spider-Man. Good man. Good man. And yes, I still have my Twitch. I'm not happy with what Twitch is doing, but I still have it until otherwise. I will be there, just not as often as I would be on Kick because of the stupidity from the new Twitch CEO. So there's that. But anyway, so thank you everyone for hanging out with me. See you all in about 30 minutes or so on Kick. Have a good rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And I will catch you all in a little bit or later. Take care and peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.